Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. You came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but man's keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Very manly show today. Very testosterone-filled show today. No estrogen in sight.
I'm looking at the cast. I don't agree.
Some estrogen?
Hello. Why are you looking at me?
Well, Billy, myself, Jeremy, I don't think that we're dubbed manly men.
Wow, so I am.
Wow, Billy.
Chris, yes. You're
really?
More, yeah, Chris.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I feel like
you're
a dude, bro. I can play both sides.
Yeah.
I tried to do a Connery there. I'm going to turn my mic off.
Emphasis on the wrong syllable. But no, Tony's got a mustache, so that makes him manly, and he's got the MMA hangout. So Billy, Jeremy, and I think there's tiers here.
Certainly not the first tier for me.
Yeah, I think Chris and me and Tony are tier 1 in perceived manliness.
Yes.
Billy, I'm not ranking these guys. I'm just saying there's 2 clear tiers here. Jeremy, I'm in the same tier with you.
All right, I'll take it. Thanks.
I won't. I'll
be
upset about it, but
All right, which is why I'm surprised that you would even consider that we're in the same tier. Because honestly, I would have figured you and Billy were the next, and then I'd be below that.
You grow a good beard, though.
Thank you.
Not
that
enough
does
people
help.
talk about it. You grow a very solid beard.
It means a lot to me.
The last thing I want to do is go back to yesterday's show, but does someone very manly play with their drawstrings when they're feeling uncomfortable? I feel like that puts me into the other category.
We all have vulnerabilities. The important thing, Chris, is not to talk about said vulnerabilities. Just keep it to yourself. That's what a manly man does.
That's why you're tier 1.
You bury them deep, and you forget about it.
Yeah.
You don't do therapy or anything like that. You just deal with it.
You don't admit that you do medium brown just for men on the sideburns because they're aging earlier than the rest of the beard.
Dude, let me tell you something. I want to get to a lot of things today. I want to talk about my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Huge game.
Huge game.
I want to talk about your Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck, too.
Yeah.
It's a massive game.
I also want to talk about all the things that happened between the Phillies winning 30 games earlier this year and the White Sox winning 30 games
a lot has happened.
A lot has happened. The world has changed
drastically.
Dramatically. Jeremy's got that for us. But I want to start here with this conversation about facial hair. Because it never ceases to amaze me how many women are like, I like for my significant other to grow his beard out, to grow the facial hair out. Because while I do accept that many of us look a lot better with facial hair, myself included, I think a beard makes me look more distinguished.
You grow a great beard.
I try, man. Mm-hmm. I try. This is a lot of grooming.
I also noticed that you don't have the sideburns. Is that because you're dealing with the sideburn gray issue?
No, first of all, my grays are all on my chin, and I love the grays have skyrocketed my stock on the market.
Really?
Oh, they love the.
I don't mind some grays in the beard whatsoever. It's the sideburns that kind of make me feel like I'm Donald Sutherland.
I don't know. I've always like a taper fade, and I like the look of the top being faded and it fades. That's like I have 2 fades. One going up.
I experimented with that look. I guess my fade isn't high enough. I can't pull it off.
Yeah. No,
I go to my barber like any white man. I ask for the Travis Kelce, and I'm just like not happy with the sideburns.
Because
he invented. He invented the fade.
He invented it. He did. That's true. It's documented. Mm-hmm. Him and Elvis inventing rock and roll.
Yeah, but I also feel like I look way better with a beard. That's because I'm not. If I were 205 pounds, I'd rock clean shaven. I'd actually have some sort of bone structure that wouldn't be hidden behind some face fat. My wife prefers that I'm clean shaven because my beard scratches her. I prefer the beard because I think it makes my face look a lot better. Therefore, I'm more confident in myself.
I think the other thing about being clean shaven is it's a lot of work, man. You gotta get up every day and like
shave.
slather this shit on, and you gotta. Are we sponsored by any razor company? Right
I mean,
now?
we've had Dollar Shave Club do activations for us. I also, you run the risk of irritating the skin a little bit more, getting like shaving bumps.
Stuff.
So I prefer not to, but really it's because I got an Italian T-zone. I can get shiny, and if I'm clean shaven, an Italian T-zone.
What is an Italian T-zone?
Everybody has a T-zone, but I have a really pronounced one because I got a big Roman nose, and I get shinier, and the more hair that is on my cheeks, the less surface area shine that you have in my face. So it's a guardrail against that.
Is a T-zone like the Taco Bell version of the Pizzone from Pizza Hut?
No, it's something on your face. I thought I explained it pretty well.
I don't know. You just said I have an Italian T-zone, and you just did this.
Yeah,
well, he did a T to it. He was like up and down. Yeah, T.
Forehead, down the nose to the lips. T-zone.
They call it a T-zone.
Yeah, that's one of my issues. I'm like, Italian T-zone. Oh, yeah, I understand. You're one of those.
Is there a difference between Italian T-zone and, say, a Greek T-zone?
Well, Mediterranean nature,
look,
not much. Thankfully, I do love my natural olive skin, which I think is from like the Mediterranean. My Italian side is from Sicily, but my dad was also born in Cuba. But he's more on the white Hispanic side, more Spanish blood. I probably get the olive side from the Sicilians, believe it or not.
Yeah,
this is very self-involved, and I don't think I have the appropriate buy-in from everybody else. So, I feel like I'm twisting in the wind.
I just know. I mean, look, I'm learning about the T-zone. All right, give me a break. I'm trying.
It does sound like a Pizza Hut special,
right? The T-zone. Right?
Whatever happened to the regular Pizzone? Did that kind of lose steam?
It's always. It's never. I don't think it's a permanent item. It's
not
It's like the McRib. Like they bring it back every time they want to get you excited because it reminds people of a time like, oh, remember when we watched the All-Star Game Slam Dunk Contest and we had those Pizzones and we just chugged some Diet Pepsi.
Mountain Dew.
We stayed up till like 1:30 a.m. playing NCAA 04. Man, times were better.
Dude.
I did that last week.
Let me
did
tell you
all those
something.
things last week.
Mike.
Might do it tonight.
Yeah, look, the NCAA, because these guys walked into the studio today, Chris and Tony, and they had a full-on conversation about, man, I was in the middle of third down, and I was like, what game was on last night? I thought GT was the first game. We were kicking off the whole season.
No, the game of the
You didn't watch
century.
Bam LSU yesterday?
No,
Game of the century.
Game of the century. So, all right, the marketing, game of the century, usually Alabama and LSU do play game of the century, but you said it was for everything because in our online dynasty, for you feel like there's a possibility you can miss the college football playoff. It wasn't for everything for Alabama. They're pretty firmly entrenched. Taylor's got a CFP spot. You probably survived this loss as well. So it wasn't for everything, much like all the previous Alabama LSU game of the century types, because they just ended up having a rematch like a couple weeks after that.
Again, it's the marketing. We got to get everybody in under the tent. Why is it the game of the century? What's going on? Number 1, number 7. There's one loss.
A game of the century
LSU could miss this game. What's happening? I don't know.
A game of the century, I think, can only be number 1 versus number 2.
Right.
You were number 1 versus number 7. To dub it game of the century when you're a 1-loss 7 seed doesn't make any sense.
Oh, the 7th seed already had a loss?
Yeah, we had one loss.
Given the week, that might be a noon start. Like that's not even like a prime time. If you have like a 2-4 matchup that week, like that's a nooner.
Buddy, there was nothing bigger than Alabama LSU on the slate. Nothing.
Those offenses, woof.
So that sounds like game of the week.
Yeah,
it was game of the year.
Game of the year.
It was game of the year.
Went from century to year. That's a lot.
Well, again, it's the marketing is century, but then if we're talking again amongst the boys, it's game of the year.
It's a 99% discount right there.
And what you heard was me Monday morning quarterbacking Tony of just like rewatching
On a third down play.
and just being like, how do you? Because Taylor's the safety on this one play, big 3rd and 5 in the third quarter. Tony checks down to his tight end when Taylor, who was the safety, comes running up. A guy was going wide open down the seam, and he just checks it down to take.
And
the
I missed
safe
him.
play.
Yeah, sorry. biggest game of my life. My bad. Nussmeier had thrown 3 picks already. I couldn't go for another one.
He was wide open.
He stinks, huh?
Sucks.
I would kill for a coach in the post game, like press
missed him.
conference. Sorry, sue me. That would be awesome, man.
Yeah.
If-
By the way, I firmly entrenched my tier 2 status by just immediately taking it to T-zone talk, right?
Absolutely.
And Jeremy, you were locked in. You were nodding along.
Of course.
Firmly entrenched T2 guys.
Yeah, come on. I mean, look, you got to take care of the T-zone.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it. And
Billy.
if you don't, you're not part of Tier 2.
Billy, you may be kicked out of Tier 2 and move up to Tier 1. If do you recognize the T-zone talk?
I did not know what that was.
Damn it, you're a Tier 1.
I saw
You're
a picture of it, but I don't know what that was.
You're a Tier 1 guy. I think Tony kind of knows about the T-zone. He was kind of co-signing on that
I've
stuff,
heard you
but-
talk about it before.
but
I've heard of low T.
Heard you talk.
Yeah, did you see that? Yeah.
The big dog talks about that.
The big hurt.
Is that related?
No, it's not.
It could be, though.
I have a
They
high
should
T.
use that.
I have a high T when it comes to
That
Hell yeah.
LT and that ED. Those cousins. They hate each other. That's what the big dog always says.
You make me laugh, man.
Low
Where's this
T
going?
and ED hate each other?
They're cousins.
Yeah.
They don't like each other.
They don't get along even though they're cousins.
But they're related. That's why
They
they're
are.
cousins.
Yeah, they are. Well, they usually go hand in
Hand in hand, I was.
But they're cousins that don't like each
Aren't
other.
they
I
good
forget his
friends?
exact
Yeah,
phrase.
it
I think
seems
they're
like
good
it
friends.
seems like they'd get along.
Yeah, like Low T and ED are very good friends.
They get along the way that the Joker and Harley Quinn get along. Like, these are bad things.
I've got Low T sitting there at the party, and then ED walks in and says, "Oh, here we go."
No, I've got.
Who let this guy in?
I've got LT's like, hey, get out of here, ED. I'm already here.
No.
Get out. We don't need both of us here. That just ruins everything.
They have to show up together, generally.
No, I feel like Low T shows up first, and then ED comes, and then that's how
Well,
Low T
no,
knows.
ED often doesn't.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well,
It's half the problem.
Yeah.
The other
Tony,
half is,
I think the reason why we started here is because before we went on the air, I looked at me and I was like, so Tony's just straight up a mustache guy now. And it fits. Like, it's not, most people that have a mustache, they do so to get attention. It's a novelty.
Or
They're
for
known as a
Movember.
wacky mustache guy. But with you, it just fits. And you've just become a mustache guy. And it's a serious mustache. It's big, it's wide, it's bushy.
Girthy.
And my main question is, anytime that I do a mustache, I usually do it for the novelty, although I think it fits. And I like it, but my wife hates it.
she hates the mustache.
Hates it because I'm willing to go clean shaven and spare her the lip hair, the chin hair, and all the other stuff. But I need to have something on my face because of the Italian T-zone.
Right.
But she hates it. Tony rocks it, and on top of that, Tony's got a wife that loves it.
The mustache is clearly back in a big way, and I was somebody who was very nervous about doing the mustache. Maybe 5-6 6 years ago, I was like, I don't know if I can just pull off just straight mustache.
Provid.
The issue is that my beard is patchy. I have a patchy beard, and I don't have the facilities to grow a great beard like Mike, like Amin, like Jeremy, like Chris.
I think it's faculty.
Thank you for including me, even though I was
I think
just
it's
like,
faculty.
man, he's
so
not
much.
going to say
What did I
it.
say?
You said facility, which is a new show with Emmanuel Acho.
Oh, my bad. I had that on the brain. Yeah, I had that on the brain.
Let me
Sorry.
explain.
The facility.
Yeah,
Great name, by the way.
I think you meant faculty.
The faculties to grow a great beard, whatever. Long story short, during COVID, I would do what all men do, which is shave the closer mustache that goes handlebars all the way down. You start doing the wacky closer mustache. She started hating it.
The Brian Harvey.
Exactly. So I started getting creative with the mustache, and then I trimmed it to like a regular stash one
Get
time.
those
and she's like-
handlebars out of here, she said.
she didn't like it at the beginning. She's like, I don't know, like this look is kind of weird, whatever.
You're cruising for something.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, this is me now. And then she's like, okay. And then about like a week after, she's like, you know what? I like it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah. And then obviously when you start wearing the shirts, when you wear the collared shirts and you show a little bit of the chest here, you got the mustache, you got the gold chain, like things start changing in a relationship when you start seeing a little bit more of the animalistic side of your partner, you know?
So the mustache tapped into a more primal side
Yeah,
of you.
absolutely.
You became a better lover.
I mean, I've always been there.
You've always been a solid lover.
Yeah.
We knew that.
You would ask her.
So your
She-
Yeah,
your
I think you're good
performance
at
has
it.
not changed at all. is
I've
what
never,
you're saying.
I've never
Mustache,
once
no
thought
mustache.
like this guy's not good at it.
Yeah, I think the mustache has changed external perceptions, right? Where people are like, "Wow, that guy's confident. If he's gonna wear a mustache, he's gonna be confident." And then
Oh, wow. Look at
yeah,
that.
like I like to do that once in a while.
A little goatee
I call that
action.
one the Jalen Hurts.
Oh, I don't
Honestly,
like
does
that.
look like
yeah,
Jalen
the
Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is weird.
Yeah, no, I shaved it, but
Yeah,
I like to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I used to just like not have the soul patch here, and then I found medium brown. You notice that it's gone from the sideburns to the soul patch.
I haven't noticed.
No? Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
You know what I've noticed? I've noticed these goddamn Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are fired up and ready to take on Dublin, Ireland.
So the line opened up, courtesy of our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. That line opened up at 13.5. And there's all sorts of stories how the Sharps are firmly backing the Ramblin' Wreck here.
Yeah.
It's now down to 10.5, a 3-point move, neutral site game, although Florida State's athletic director said he anticipates in the neighborhood of 30,000 Florida State Seminole fans in Dublin, Ireland. I imagine that's a really fun game to travel to. But I have a lot of questions about FSU. Quite the offseason, a lot of turnover on the roster. They've turned their program around. Norvell appears to be a good hire. I think Georgia Tech is a well-coached team. I think it has too many points. It's early in the season. It's a unique spot. And I'm putting the town on alert. This is upset alert. Upset alert. Upset alert. Putting the town on alert here. I think Georgia Tech can win this game straight up.
Put the town on alert.
It might be your greatest impression ever.
It's very limited, but
it sounded so, because you know what? The production, the acoustics on it, made it sound like it was ripped off.
Yeah, I told you.
Put the town on alert.
I legitimately still think that's Pierce Brosnan, though I'm told it's me, and I'm waiting for the call
How?
from Cinephobe.
How is it you?
But this is, granted, I'm literally wearing a Miami logo on my shirt right now, so you know my bias here. But I think Georgia Tech can at least keep this one close. I don't understand the spread.
This is music to my ears because I have been kind of on the outs with Georgia Tech for a long time. I just haven't been as engaged an alum as I should be. And
I mean, you had Paul Johnson. You played a style that didn't really. And Georgia, low key, dude, you can stack Georgia up with the likes of Texas, and Florida, and California. There's actually been more higher end talent. You can make a solid argument that Georgia's now kind of alpha when it comes to high school recruiting. And you used to play a style that did nothing to use those athletes. They had essentially one in-state option in Georgia if they wanted to play big-time
football.
power conference football.
Yeah, and the problem with GT, obviously, it's a really tough academic school too, so that kind of limits the options.
I mean, there's always ways around them.
Oh, well, you're telling me I went there. But it's one of those things where I went to a game at UCF, Georgia Tech at UCF a couple of years ago with some friends of mine that I went to college with.
Did
and
GT win that one?
No.
Charge on.
No. That was Paul Johnson's he's going to get fired any day now, right, at that moment. And then last year we went to GT Miami, and I was like, that's cool. To be on the winning side of that, it's like, oh, maybe I do want. And that was the first time I understood, like, oh, this is why Mike does all this shit, like getting involved and stuff. It's fun. It's cool. So I looked around. I was watching. We went in this game. I'm like, I want to be on the sidelines. I want to be the alum who's like, ooh, there's Amin Al-Hassan standing there with a GT kind of quarter zip on and kind of like just clapping my hands with a little lanyard. Oh man, I want to do that.
It's nice. It's a nice perk, and then you actually do the giving, and you realize like, well, what?
I think there's a way around that. I feel like I can.
This hurts.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. I think I can provide a level of exposure that is worth more money than I could ever donate. And here's why, folks. Let me explain. So Georgia Tech, most of their alums are athletes, like Megatron.
Most of the ones that we know.
Most of the famous
It's
alums.
impossible.
Most of the famous
Most of their alums are not athletes.
Well,
most of their alums are
famous.
Engineers, I would say.
Most of the famous alums are athletes, right?
Yeah. Who's their most famous non-athlete alum?
So
Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter is one that people say, like, I still don't believe it. I don't think he went
You
to
don't
school
think
there.
he went there?
No.
You're asking for the transcripts? Like what's going on?
This is like a weird birther
No,
theory.
no, it's not that. It's just like
He wasn't born in the U.S.
I feel like if you came to get your graduate degree there, you didn't go to school there, man. Like this, like
So that kind of like you with Arizona State, because theoretically, geographically, you would be a big Forks Up guy.
Yeah,
because you live there.
I am a big Forks Up guy when it suits
When
me.
it behooves you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now when it behooves, it does not behoove at this point in time.
The guy who runs the Coca-Cola company.
He's not famous. Nobody knows who that guy is, right? Jeff Foxworthy is on that list, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's
He's good.
funny.
And then Amin Al-Hassan's on that list. I'm dead serious. Like we don't have like Julia Roberts went to college here, or Paul Giamatti. We don't have people like that. We don't have Hoobastank went to college here, or they met here.
You don't
right?
have McConaughey on your sideline.
No, man. So it's like, yo, I'm here. I'm active. I got something of a platform, and I know people. And that's the important thing about being in the booster game. Like, you got to know people. Hey, kid, you want to meet Dan Le Batard? I can make that happen.
I would say that you probably would be doing it the right way. By the way, I got confused with the UCF Georgia Tech thing. Georgia Tech did beat them in the bowl game
This past year.
Yeah, most recently. But so here's all you need to know about NIL. The Saudis, known for spending on sports recklessly, right? Reportedly, a staffer from Colorado travels and seeks an investment, an NIL investment from the Saudis.
I did not know you could do that. Can you do that?
I mean, take a good look at Texas A&M. You can.
You could.
You could. There's stuff there. So, but the Saudis were like, I mean, because we know they didn't end up doing it, best to our knowledge, anyways. So the Saudis, who spend recklessly, looked at this and they're like, well, this isn't worth it. This is silly. And that tells you everything that you need to know about what's at stake with NIL. I don't do it to return an investment. Now, I have built really good relationships. I really valued my NIL deal with Destiny Harden. And I do know that it impacts lives positively. And if you can make connections with these people that you're impacting their lives, it's a beautiful thing. But largely, this is just to bring my program back. And that's all I get out of it. I'll get an occasional great relationship with a student athlete that it changes their life. That's amazing. But I'm doing this to bring my program back, and that's it. What do you get? You get to be happier.
No, and you get to be cool. You get to be cool. You get to be the guy that goes to the games. You get good seats.
You got your seat with a name on it.
People come up to you, shake your hand. People's like, "Who's that guy?"
Although it's problematic for me
Golden
because
Canes
because
guy.
on my box it says the Ruiz family.
Oh no. Why would you do that?
Well, because
that's
I'm
his
not
name.
going to put the Ryan family. Like,
Who are these guys?
It's a stage name, and also like my box is next to like the other Ruiz family.
Brother, you're complaining about stage name. Meanwhile, FIU plays at Pitbull Stadium.
Hell yeah, pause up.
Yeah,
Come
I mean,
on, man.
I've done
What's wrong
like
with
when I had a luxury box, I had like sayings like it's all about the U invented swagger. But like for this box, it's a nice thing. While I have this stage name and this weird John Ruiz thing is hanging over it, it's nice for my daughter to take a photo from our luxury couches there, and it has the Ruiz family there.
So in the Saudi situation with Colorado, do you think the Saudis had a guy that just knows ball? Like they look at the guy like, where's my boy that knows football? Hey, come over here. What do you think about this? And he's like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, noted to be very conservative with the money that they spend. Saudi Arabia decided, you know what, this is just not for us. I don't blame anybody for not giving an NIL. I see the benefits of it, and I've had genuine good relationships with people that it's impacted. But also, here's a really undersold portion of it. There's tremendous networking. I'm in rooms that I genuinely don't belong into. I've made lifelong friendships. It's great for networking.
Lifelong friendships.
No, for
relax.
real. No, for real.
It's John Ruiz thought the money dries up and they want nothing to do with you. What was the guy, the little guy that ran around and and that's what Nevin thought also. Lifelong friendships.
So he's operating in bad faith. But no, there's good stuff. I appreciate the banter there. But no, I've made really strong relationships, and that's what I've gotten out of it. But I don't blame anybody for being like, that's a waste of money.
Juju, put it on the poll. Do you really appreciate the banter when you say the words, I appreciate the banter there?
I do.
By the way, I'm
speaking for the audience.
I'm scrolling through Georgia Tech's famous alumni wiki, and there are like, there's a business section, scholars section, like every kind of education, politics, and over 100 names. I mean, you're not on here.
All hacks.
Number one, they're all hacks. Number two, that's on purpose. I have paid a lot of money to make sure that I don't have a Wikipedia page. So
they can still list you and just not link it to anything.
No. Look,
no,
man,
they can't.
No. Look, the money I paid, Billy, there's no paper trail. I don't exist. I'm a ghost.
Well, what are you up to?
Well, you don't have to worry about it. A little this, a little that.
So as Amin mentioned, college football, it's upon us. And there are a lot of desirable tickets. I'm headed to a sold-out Ben Hill Griffin Stadium next week. The Swamp, totally sold out. And that's a very desirable ticket. So what do you do? Well, if the event's sold out,
I know what
where
to
do
do.
you go? What do you do?
Game time,
The
baby.
Game Time app. You download the Game Time app. You create an account and use the code Dan, and you get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. You get all-in pricing. You just hit that tab, and there are no surprises at checkout. You get to see what your view might look like from your seat, and, of course, the low price guarantee. If, for whatever reason, there's a lower price out there on the secondary market, let Game Time know. They will match it 110%. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Game Time app, again, that is promo code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. I'm going to be using it a bunch this football season.
I love the Game Time app, and I love college football now because I want to be a Georgia Tech kind of influencer.
So you went to the Georgia Tech-Miami game last year, and I was heartbroken because of how that game developed. But you didn't know, I told you afterwards, that you were in my line of view. I saw you the entire game. I saw you crestfallen, but I also
Never saw
you
me crestfallen.
No. I saw you kind of shut up. You were talking a lot of stick to the people around you. But I saw the absolute heights of euphoria after that, and it's just I was dealing with my own stuff because also I'm like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my finances in that moment? What are we doing as a program? There was a lot going on there, and just you at the corner of my eye.
Cackling.
And it's one of the worst people to give that dub to. Just one of the worst. You do not let Amin get a dub like this.
But to be honest with you, because we were bad last year, so we went into that game fully expecting to get our heads bashed in. And so it was a big joke. Everyone around us was cool. All the Miami people, because we were joking with them. Every time we got a first down because of a penalty, I go, yes!
It was a weird game flow because
it was awful. It was an awful game.
Yeah, because
it was an awful.
Miami had several opportunities to kind of put it away. That you never felt like they were in danger of losing until they had actually lost.
It was one of those things where I guess if we get a 60-yard reception here, it's one of those things where we the most improbable thing needed to happen for us to have a chance to win the game.
Several improbable things
and they all happened. But for the most part, we were having fun, and the people in front of us were having fun. We're joking around. I'm we had lost. I can't remember who we lost to some. Middle Tennessee State or something.
No, you lost to a MAC
Bowling
team.
Green?
Yeah.
It was Bowling Green. So, then there's this guy who didn't get the joke. Every time we're celebrating, it's first down, the refs are our best player, or whatever. We're making it obvious we're a terrible team.
Super serious Miami fan guy.
He was like, how many national championships? I'm like, what are you talking about? We lost to Bowling Green last week. You talking about national championships? So then it turned into, you know what? I just want to piss this guy off.
Yeah.
And so I just went at him and at him and at him and at him. And then luckily for him, he left before the big collapse.
Wow.
And
he's probably to this day saying, thank God I left before that collapse.
It was one of those things where you kind of just got to accept, man, let people be. I said, I can't be happy my team just scored. We scored a field goal. I can't be happy. So every time something good would happen, I would turn around and I'd ask him permission. Can I clap now? Is it good? Yeah. Okay. Guys, it's good to clap. It's good to clap. I just kept doing that.
I don't mind. I'll bring in opposing fans into my section. I just asked them to subscribe to Decorum, because we're in the Golden Canyons.
Yeah, we don't curse.
Yeah.
We don't.
And I think you should subscribe to Decorum, in the lower bowl. Don't be disrespectful. Don't make, you can banter the team, but, you start getting, personal, or you there's a line that you cross.
Look, I am. Most people probably don't believe this because I don't typically talk about fandom. I'm not usually going to games as a fan.
It's weird to see you like that. It was weird to turn to my right and occasionally see you selfie style video. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I can't believe this is my life.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what it is. A long time ago perfected. I will never ever be ejected or kind of reprimanded for something explicit or whatever. Yeah. I'm going to get kicked out because people are going to want to fight me. I'm going to just say things, right? And a lot of it's very heavy. So I realize a lot of people don't like sarcasm.
Yeah.
A lot of people really don't like sarcasm, particularly in the sporting space. So in soccer, for instance, and this is a very Sudanese thing, when the opposing team, somebody makes a strike and misses the goal by a lot,
Misses a sitter.
Like just wide right, Scott Norwood style, right? Mm-hmm. The entire crowd will sarcastically in unison say, "Go!" Like, that's just a thing people do. And it sucks. When you're on the other side of that, you're like, shut up, just shut up. So I've kind of taken that ethos and applied it to American sports. But again, I don't go to basketball games as a fan. So I don't get to do any of my sarcastic things. I just sit there and kind of like.
You do for Georgia Tech, though, right? Like, they made a Final Four.
So Georgia Tech basketball.
They had Bosch and Jared Jack. Like,
yeah, well, and now Damon Stoudemire is our coach. Bonzi Wells is on the staff. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of want in on GT basketball,
Bonzi's
too.
on the staff?
Bonzi's on the staff.
Because I went to a Miami-Georgia Tech game last year that Georgia Tech won. My record at Miami-Georgia Tech games is awful. Like, I've never been with a mean where Miami's played Georgia Tech and seen Miami win.
Remember with the Jay Wakefield, 5 years ago?
Yeah. And you were in your element.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, my record going to games, which probably serves Florida, my record just watching Miami over the last 20 years is just dreadful.
Mike, this is the funny thing about that night at Jay Wakefield, is that Mike was like, yeah, this is going to be like a real blowout. Like, he had this cocky kind of like, okay, these Georgia Tech guys, what are they going to do?
About Georgia Tech? No, I think that game.
5 years, that Georgia Tech team was terrible.
Yeah, and that was a game that D'Onofrio lined up in a goal line package. He went 3 down linemen and had 4 linebackers 7 yards deep in the end zone. That was just like terrible coaching.
Oh man,
Golden
Canes.
Golden Canes.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of Canes, you guys see who was in Canes gear yesterday on the internet?
No,
I did. I thought of you,
AJ and Big. The boom. I don't know what they were doing. Are they getting paid to do these things at this point, or you think it's just like, hey, we'll give you a jersey?
Wait, who are these people?
You don't know AJ and Big Justice?
AJ
the
and
Costco
Big
guys?
The
Look at him throw
Costco
the U.
chicken bake a double chunk.
A double chunk chocolate cookie.
I don't.
That was Cookie Monster.
A double chunk chocolate cookie.
Wait, what is this?
Still Cookie
What am I watching on my screen right now?
You're watching
Big Justice.
the internet sensations, AJ and Big Justice, a father and son who have just gone viral for being Costco guys. They toss paper towels to each other. They eat chicken bakes. They eat double chunk chocolate cookies.
What do Costco guys mean? Like, you go to Costco for lunch? That's a Costco guy?
They just posted videos.
Chicken bakes.
At Costco.
Yeah, and they've gone insanely viral, and they're everywhere. They're kind
say,
of cringe.
boom.
I don't want to say that.
Why would you
You
say
guys
that?
seem all too enthusiastic. I'm going to go to Billy, because Billy, it feels like...
No, don't. It's a
Come
kid.
on,
No,
ground
it's a
us
kid.
here.
It's a father and a son. It's a beautiful relationship.
Big Justice is the kid, by the way.
Yeah.
That
could be
just
super
watch their videos.
Hopefully,
Or don't.
UM
And then
signs
maybe they'll
him
go
because
away
the
forever.
bat speed is just undeniable on this kid.
So wait, the kid plays baseball?
And football,
He's a multi-sport athlete. I saw him going at Baby Gronk. Whoa.
Tackle dummy, too.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't stand a chance.
You don't know who the Rizzler is either? Where are you? Like, what world are
Rizzler?
you living
Oh,
in?
the Rizzler.
The Riddler or Rizzler?
Rizzler.
You know what? I don't want. You're already embarrassing yourself too much.
But
We should
I
stop.
saw this collaboration. I'm like, wow, Miami's brand is immense. This is bigger than the Drake video by far. This is the coolest thing that Miami's ever done. Now, like, we're a desirable brand. You get AJ and Big Justice, you might actually be back.
They gave the facility 3 booms, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Out of 5, though.
Oh, out of 5?
Yeah.
What gets a
The
5
show,
boomer?
the facility?
No, like they were at the
No, me-
facility, like the UM
Me being able to grow a beard.
It's really hard to get 5 booms, yes? They don't...
5 booms is tough, but they give a lot of Costco stuff 5 booms,
I
clearly.
mean, the
They're-
chicken bake clearly gets
Are they
5
paid
booms.
by Costco?
If they're not at this point, I mean, they're doing something wrong.
No, they're not. They do it for free. Why do I need to pay
Love
them?
the game.
This is,
Costco guys.
okay, so, all right. Let me I'm going to throw
They
some
do
cold
like
water on
Costco
this.
reviews. I mean, so
But they
they'll
love
go to, like,
everything.
On a boom system.
on a boom system sometimes.
Where
or
one boom is like, this isn't great.
Like they were at McDonald's a few weeks ago. Like, let's do the Big Mac. 4 boom, 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 boom.
they got to give the booms with the throwing up of the elbow, but they also give dooms.
Doom.
So it's like
Boomer
boom
doom.
and doom.
What
right?
is doom?
You don't see a lot of dooms.
What does doom mean?
Like they're generally getting invited places, so they play ball.
What are you
This is-
doing?
So this sounds like the white version of Keith Lee. Do you guys know who Keith Lee is?
Kind of, yes.
So Keith Lee,
Does Keith Lee have a banger
I've seen
song?
of him.
Keith Lee was an MMA fighter, and somehow he stumbled upon doing restaurant reviews on TikTok. But Keith Lee is a really particular kind of guy. He has a very particular type of speaking. I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible in describing what Keith Lee is like. I can only just do the impression, which is, my family and I decided to go to name restaurant or whatever. I'm going to try to find out whether it's a marketing. the customer service or the food quality? I got it. Let's try it and rank it 1 through 10. As always, this is my opinion.
Yes, I've seen this guy.
That guy, right? So
I don't like this.
But people love it, and a lot of these restaurants, when he gives them a good rating, there's like a line around the corner. Like it
He's
changes.
like the biggest food influencer on the planet right now.
Right now.
Really?
Like he goes to
he's
your
huge.
restaurant and
Well,
gives it a
second
good
biggest.
No.
That's what we do. We bring the boom. We bring the boom to you. We bring the boom.
How can you not love that? That's infectious.
It
I
sounds-
didn't know about these guys until Chris alerted me to them, and I'm in. Like, they're so fun. I wanted to hate them.
We'll be bringing the boom around the
Quarter to 3.
with double chunk chocolate cookies. And we call him Big Justice, cause that's what he serves.
We bring the happiness and laughter when we enter the room. And
You guys want more? Okay.
Yeah, I do. Can't get enough.
Who produced this song?
Mike Ryan. It sounds like one of Mike Ryan's songs.
Sounds like Rick Rubin. It really does.
I don't have any technical skills.
All right. Let's go to our guest line where we have David Sampson, Nothing Personal with David Sampson, and Adnan Verk of MLB Network and Cinephile. And gentlemen, I want to start with just this question. Have you guys heard of, what are they called? Big Justice?
AJ and Big Justice.
AJ and Big Justice.
Yes. We're excited.
Sadly, I'm unaware of AJ and Big Justice, unless that's the new nicknames of Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. David?
We're excited to have Adnan and David. Friendly reminder to our audience, this segment is presented by LinkedIn Jobs. Really excited to have them aboard and Adnan and Sampson aboard.
That would be a good nickname for Juan Soto and Aaron Judge.
David,
AJ and Big Justice.
Are you familiar with AJ and Big Justice?
Can we start with
I'm despondent to tell you that in my demographic currently where I sit, I've not heard those names, and I feel like this could just be a tiny little setup.
It's not. It's real. Like, they showed the video on the screen for us here in the studio. I don't know this either. It's not my demographic either, but apparently it's a big deal. And David, I want to start there just by asking you, in the modern sports business space, where do these kind of internet celebrity influencers fit in? Is this something that teams should or do utilize as far as bringing them in for marketing, or is this just a waste of money?
Well, I sure as heck fire wouldn't do it on camp day. I can tell you that. So if you know, you know. And I would say that we're always looking to be cooler than we are. And that's not just running a baseball team. That's doing anything. You're always trying to be who you're not. I think the most successful people in business understand exactly who they are, what product they're selling, and who they're selling it to. And until you know that, you can't really start a business or run a business. But when you're doing a baseball team trying to entertain, you're trying to entertain old school baseball people and get them to bring their kids and grandkids who may want to see, Haley Welch. So it's a difficult line to walk.
David's right, but then there's moments like at the Mets where they have Hawk Tua throwing up the first pitch. And you're like, who the hell is Hawk Tua? What is she
Adnan, you know who Hawk Tua is.
I mean,
Cody, I'm just saying the majority of the baseball fans. I clearly know, as Roy Wood knew on your show. But I just sometimes, David's right. You think outside the box, and then you wind up with Hawk Tua. Not sure if that's the best look for the Mets.
Well, speaking of thinking outside the box, I, over the weekend, went to the cinemas, and I saw Alien Romulus, and I was really impressed with this film. Only an $80 million budget made that back and more in the first weekend. I think since it places itself on the Alien timeline between Alien and Aliens, and cover your ears because you're going to take issue with this, I think the Alien franchise, those three films, Alien, Alien Romulus, and Aliens, that is now the cream of the crop when it comes to sci-fi trilogies. It was, I know you're a Star Wars guy, I don't mean any disrespect, but I thought this was a marvel in movie making, practical effects, practical makeup, practical set design. I loved it. It was refreshing to see movies made like this again. I don't know if either of you had the opportunity to see Alien Romulus, but I'm curious your thoughts on that take. That if it is what the reviews say it is and what I'm telling you it is, where do you rank this franchise in terms of all-time great trilogies, both in sci-fi and just generally? It's fantastic.
Haven't seen the latest one, Mike, but I'll say this to your point. When people point at generally sequels are wasteful and unnecessary and redundant, I look at Aliens. Like, if you look at the Ridley Scott, James Cameron 1, 2, like those are two premier directors who had two excellent sci-fi films with Alien and Aliens. It's the rare time that you could argue the sequel is better than the original. I haven't seen Alien Romulus. That sounds like blasphemy to say it's better than the Star Wars trilogy. Amin's going to fight you. David, floor is yours.
So as you know, Mike, we've been doing this a long time. You know the odds of me having seen any of those three movies is very small. I haven't seen any of them. I'm too scared.
Wait.
I thought they were horror movies, not sci-fi movies.
You've never seen Aliens?
No.
So there are.
We talking about the Sigourney Weaver movie?
Which is probably
scary.
Ripley is one of the greatest heroes in the history of cinema. Certainly one of the strongest women characters. James Cameron's actually done a really good job with really strong women characters in his films.
Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, but I think that you have to see this. I mean, these are great filmmakers that we're talking about, Ridley Scott, James Cameron. And while there are elements that are jump scares, it's really far beyond that. These are really masterful achievements in movie making, and you're missing out by not watching any of these films.
This is my pushback, gentlemen, to what Mike said, beyond me being a big Star Wars fan. Like you said, this is a great trilogy. I'm sorry. They made a shit ton of Alien movies.
Yeah.
Those Alien 3, that was trash.
Alien 3 was terrible.
Alien 3 awful.
Yeah, which is why I gave it that qualifier. If you're adhering to the timeline that it establishes, that the events of this film take place between Alien and Aliens, then you take David Fincher's, and I love David Fincher. It was a misfire. I know he was kind of brought in late to save that movie. Alien 3, terrible film. I'm not arguing the merits of Alien 3. It was a really bad movie, but it made me. I revisited the franchise in anticipation for Alien Romulus, and I dug deep. Did you know that Jesus was originally canon in the Alien franchise?
That's how they made him canon, huh?
In the original script of Prometheus, the engineers argued that they sent Jesus and they had to destroy humanity because of what they did to Jesus. They tested it, and
Do you mean the actual Jesus?
The actual Jesus was a part of the Alien kind of franchise.
Never heard that one.
And the reason why there are aliens in the first place that are just sent to destroy humans is because of what happened to Jesus, but they took that part of the original script out. New Rockstars as a whole, like, I was watching this thing for 35 minutes explaining the whole Alien lore. But I love this franchise. I revisited these films. They hold up. And what I loved about Alien Romulus, though, there have been a bunch of technical advancements, right? If you watch Alien and Aliens, you wonder, why are all these buttons? Why is everything analog? Why is there everything standard def? Surely if they make a new Alien, they'd fix that. No, they honor the legacy of the original films. All the technology is that of the original Alien world, which I loved.
It's always fascinating, to Mike's point, stuff that's taken out. He mentions the fact Jesus could have been in there. At one point, Ripley was going to hold up a sign that said John 3:16. They took that out as well.
With the rainbow wig. Now we're aging ourselves.
Kids don't get that reference.
Boom! But what I would say is I highly endorse Alien Romulus. It's a great achievement in technical movie making, and I think more films, especially in sci-fi, there have been these wonderful stories in lower budget sci-fi movies. Godzilla, the most recent Godzilla movie that won an Academy Award for the visual effects, only famously had a $15 million budget. There are a lot of filmmakers that realize I can really make a great science fiction movie, and typically that's a genre that leans on visual effects and has an immense visual effects budget. These have really stripped it down and gone to practicality, and I think it's really benefited the genre, and I hope for more of it.
I think you're bugging.
Okay.
Because people want to see crazy lasers destroying things.
That stuff doesn't stick out. It's just all like... It's like the Avengers movies. Why is everything purple? Like, it's just, why is everything in post? Because they want to be able to fix everything afterwards. They don't want to actually build these sets and realize this didn't come out the way that we wanted it. Take the chance. Bank on the director. Practicality, it goes a long way and really makes the entire movie here with Alien Romulus. That, and it's just a really good movie, suspenseful, kind of a throwback to what Alien used to be, which really honors the scares and some of the horror elements that probably David shies away from. That's probably a little too much on Alien. I know you're here for a top 5. As our time-honored tradition, we begin with Adnan, and we leave David 30 seconds, right? At the end, that's how we do it?
Excellent.
I nailed it. Adnan,
David, you go ahead. You take the ball and run with it. I'll finish.
David, what is your top 5? Explain to the audience what we're doing here.
Well, today is Kobe Bryant's birthday. And so we wanted to honor Kobe Bryant by doing our top 5 basketball movies. And we left it open to you to decide what is the definition of a basketball movie. And I will start my list with something that you'll be upset with, but I associate number 5, Father of the Bride, as one of my best basketball movies.
You know what? I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Good job, David.
There you go, David.
That's a very strong one out of the gate. That's excellent. Martin Short, Frank.
I have always dreamt of having a basketball game with my daughter the way that Steve Martin did with Kimberly Williams Paisley, and it just has never been meant to be. Number 4, Hoop Dreams.
Yeah.
It is not found behind the counter in the dark. Hoop Dreams is a movie actually about 2 young basketball players from the inner city following their career. The assumption that they would make it, they don't quite make it. It is a phenomenal documentary, maybe the best basketball documentary ever made.
One of the greatest sports documentaries ever. Not a movie. I don't feel like documentaries count because this is real life, and movies are kind of like telling.
There are ways to make documentaries cinematic. When We Were Kings was a film, I think,
not a
in
movie.
every sense of the word. Even though it documented something, that felt like a actual cinematic experience. David, do you disagree?
No, I completely agree. But I mean, documentaries are movies. They're a subset of movies. Horrors are a subset. They're a genre of movies. Docs are a genre of film.
Yeah, but there are also ways that you can present a documentary that's a little bit more cinematic than most. Like not having someone speak directly to camera as I'm speaking to you right now and essentially break the fourth wall. Like there are just narrative-built documentaries that go start to finish without anyone ever speaking directly to camera, and that's more cinematic.
I think it's irresponsible to have a top 5 basketball list and not have Hoop Dreams on it, Adnan. I don't know what your list is, but I can tell you that if it doesn't have Hoop Dreams, I will be shocked.
That's a good guess. I love Hoop Dreams. Going to save my Hoop Dream comments for my list. Go ahead.
Number 3, White Men Can't Jump. It made it okay to talk about white men and black men and look at Wesley Snipes, my favorite Marcus Johnson, who was a Milwaukee Buck. If you remember that movie, if anyone remembers Marcus Johnson, who was a great player, he was an actor in this movie. Rosie Perez, who's in my favorite movie of all time called Fearless, but what a job that she did. And you looked at what Woody Harrelson did with Wesley Snipes, and you said, I dream of doing that, but it doesn't work in real life. That's White Men Can't Jump.
Did you ever see the
watch
remake?
The sequel.
All right, the remake.
Do not watch the remake. It was so bad. It was the worst I've ever seen. Number 2, it's a movie called Forget Paris.
Oh,
great film.
Incredible pick. I mean, this is terrible.
What? No,
No, and then
get out of here.
I would legitimately think about kicking him out of the Zoom. Forget Paris is
That's a great movie.
well deserving of this list and one of the
It's a
greatest
great
romantic
movie.
comedies ever made. You stop it right now. You stop it.
Adnan, you're just doing that for clickbait, and that's fine. But little thing you may not have known is that in my career, when I wasn't able to grow taller, I wanted to be an NBA referee. That was my dream when I knew I wouldn't be in the NBA. And after that movie, I actually thought about going to referee school. Something I still think about to this day.
Billy Crystal's life seemed that appealing to you?
There's something about being an NBA referee that just made me. I wanted to be Earl Strom. I wanted to be Daryl Garrettson. I wanted to be. Anyway, it's all good. Number 1. This is a runaway number 1. I assume it's number 1 with Adnan. The greatest basketball movie ever made, Fast Break. Wow. Fast Break with Gabe Kaplan. Welcome back, Cotter. Bernard King. Fast Break was doing gender issues back when gender issues were not something that you could do. Fast Break is a movie that will it
So
has
is Shawana,
drugs,
man.
it has sex, it has basketball, it has all the things you could want in a movie.
That's a staggering number 1. Look at that is a tepid reaction from the audience. David, you were doing so well. It was a list very personal to you, which I appreciate, very amusing. But Fast Break at 1, that's egregious.
It can't be that you feel that way, because I think that if we weren't on the show, you would tell me that Fast Break is your favorite basketball movie of all time. You have to say it.
Well, listen, I appreciate that your list is very personal to you. Number 5, and I appreciate that you said basketball movie is a broad term. Cable Guys at number 5.
Both of you guys went a little nutty with your 5th overall.
How great is that scene? Jim Carrey's the headband, the gap in the two.
The suicides. And then the suicides as it gets shorter and shorter.
Yeah. What were they playing? Were they playing "Hey Man, Nice Shot" during that scene?
You know,
that's right. Filter, great song.
We know who had a cameo in that
Jack
scene?
Black.
Jack Black.
Well, it wasn't a cameo. He actually had a role, but there was smaller, like Paul Rudd. Wasn't Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd. Was
no, Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson was a dude that was beat up in the bathroom. There was a lot of Judd Apatow universe characters there.
Cable Guy at 5. Number 4, this one's for Cody. Along Came Polly.
Hell yeah.
Make it rain.
Great. You're doing like a greatest basketball scenes top 5 right now. I'm down with it.
Number 3, I am going to go with White Man Can't Jump. And I agree with Samson. Again, please avoid the reboot, remake. Horrific. Number 2, Amin's going to be offended. Hoop Dreams.
I'm not offended. I just think it's unfair.
Arthur Agee, William Gates, inspiring story. I mean, people had not seen a story like this before, right? Inner city life in Chicago, the bleakness, the sadness, the tragedy, and yet the hope and inspiration. A remarkable film. There's no question about it. And number 1, surprised it wasn't on David's list, but I'm kind of thrilled neither of us mentioned Hoosiers in our top 5 list. Number 1. Jesus Shuttlesworth, he got game.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that Hoosiers didn't end up in this. Whatever you think of Hoosiers, like universally, anytime you look up basketball movies or sports movies, Gene Hackman's Hoosiers usually ends up in there.
That's because people are hacks and also racist. I've got my own top 5 list, gentlemen. Some of the movies have been named on your list, but a couple haven't. 2 OLIs. OLI number 1, Above the Rim.
Boom. Good soundtrack.
OLI number 2, Air. I know it's a commercial.
Boom.
Yeah,
but it was
I liked it.
It was a fun commercial. All right, number 5.
That was OLI.
Semi-Pro.
Great one.
If you read Terry Pluto's Loose Balls, it's a book about life in the ABA back then. It is an excellent depiction of that book.
If you see a possum, try to kill it. Not a pet.
Number 4, He Got Game.
Little low.
Number 3, Forget Paris. Love that movie. I love that movie, Adnan. You're not going to say anything bad. Number 2.
That's unbelievable.
Number 2, this wasn't on either of you guys' list. Blue Chips.
Yeah. You know what? Nolte, great in that movie.
Nolte was great.
Shaq.
Penny Hardaway. Bobby Knight was actually coaching. And when they told him in this play they got to give up an alley-oop, he refused. They had to talk no, this is a movie. We're not actually playing a basketball game. And number 1, the greatest depiction of basketball ever on screen in a fictional vehicle.
Air Bud.
White Man Can't Jump. That's basketball.
White Man Can't Jump on all 3 lists.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Where the actual
no
fuck is
Space
Jam?
anywhere.
Where is Space Jam? Thank you, David. Where the fuck is Space Jam?
Oh, jeez. It's a little excessive, Jeremy.
Becoming a tier 1
It's a
alpha.
classic.
So we teased this earlier, Jeremy. You have a list of things that happened between when the Phillies won 30 games earlier this season. They were the first team to win 30.
Yep.
And the White Sox, the last horse, crosses the finish line.
Grady Sizemore and the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, for those who don't know that, that's one of my favorite pieces of trivia now that you could ask anyone who the White Sox manager is, and if you said Grady Sizemore and they didn't know, it would be mind-blowing. But yeah, the Phillies were the first team to win 30 games. They're one of the best teams in baseball.
Was that?
That was May 14th. It took until August 16th for the White Sox, who are on pace for the worst season ever. So 94 days in between when the Phillies won and the White Sox won their 30th game. So I tried to compile some things that happened from the time that the Phillies won their 30th game until the White Sox. So, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese made their WNBA debuts.
Oh, remember that? That was a while ago.
The Cavaliers' season ended.
Damn.
Yeah.
Didn't a lot of NBA seasons end in May?
Well, they played into the playoffs. Yeah. So, yes,
okay.
I was just picking a team that made some sense there.
To the second round.
That made it to the second round. Donald Trump became a convicted felon. That happened in the time in between. Yeah. We lost Bill Walton, Jerry West, and Willie Mays.
And Al Addles the other day. Rest in peace.
Will Smith rehabbed his entire image in the Bad Boys Ride or Die press tour.
Did he?
It wasn't even the movie. It was the press tour.
It was the press tour.
Absolutely, he did. Absolutely. He was doing videos with Kev on stage. He was doing videos with everyone, still like trying mac and cheese. It was amazing.
It's still odd for me.
Still my word association.
I'm with it.
Kendrick Lamar played Not Like Us 6 times and really ended Drake. His live stream on Juneteenth.
He didn't.
He didn't end the Drake. By the way, Drake last month became the most streaming artist again. He took over the lead. I'm just saying, the numbers don't lie.
There aren't consequences anymore.
Panthers won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah. I remember that, guys.
Someone won the NBA Finals, but I don't remember who.
Congrats on that, by the way. I mean, I know you're a big Panther guy.
That's a huge Panther guy, man. Yeah.
Dan went to and returned on a trip to Africa.
He did, just like Nas and Belly.
And since now the Rockies were the last team to win 30 games before the White Sox, and that was in early July. Jesus. So since the Rockies won 30 games, between then and the White Sox winning, there was an attempted assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
Right.
Joe Biden dropped out of the race. All of Brat Summer happened. The entire Summer Olympics happened. Tim Walz was named Democratic VP nominee.
Also, Skip Bayless ended his tenure at Fox.
Drawstrings interview.
Wait, is Brat Summer done?
What is that? Can somebody explain that to me? A tier 2 guy explain that to me?
Brat Summer?
Yeah.
Charlie XCX released an album called Brat. There's a whole attitude associated with it.
He did a board about it.
I did a whole thing.
I know, but I wasn't
Just
here.
go back and watch it.
Yeah, go back and watch the clip.
What's the attitude? How am I supposed what's my vibe supposed to be?
You're not a brat.
Are you supposed to be demure?
You're very demure. You're very
cutesy.
No, cutesy is not.
I'm feeling
how
myself.
I would say. Yeah, you're feeling yourself. You're at the club. You're bumping.
Yeah, you say boom.
Doing bumps?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If we're being real, that's
bumps in the club.
Yeah, that's what's happening. So yeah, Brat Summer, it's the best.
Is it done?
Everyone loves
so
it.
nobody can explain.
I mean, it's
now
continuing
I
until the
totally
summer's
get it.
over.
Now I
but
get
yeah,
it.
it's just party, man. I don't know. I'm not exactly the best representative here.
I love the idea.
But you said it. You've said it a million times, Brat Summer.
Yeah, because I know what it is, but you gotta know what it is to know what it is. You know what I mean?
That's why I'm asking you to explain it to me, because you know
Charlie
what it is.
XCX couldn't even really truly explain the definition yourself. You just gotta feel it.
Jeremy, I love the idea that it's like, just party. I'm like, oh, we're gonna do that this summer as opposed to what we do every other summer.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like when Justin Timberlake saying, "I'm bringing sexy back." Like,
where'd it go?
No,
he did bring.
That was legit though.
No, sexy had one way.
No, it did, and he brought it back. That was legit. Future Sex Love Sounds. That was a banger.
That was a great album.
It was a great album.
Such a good album.
And it was a great song, but also.
And then sonically, he just stayed there.
It's like Megan Trainor. Megan Trainor said, "I'm bringing booty back." I'm like, who the hell are you?
And it's certainly not you.
And where did it go?
I have
always been here.
I'm on the Today Show covered this, and there's an article here that says, while the word brat usually invokes feelings of middle school angst, Brat Summer is all about accepting your imperfections while embracing the chaos.
I would say that
like
brat is not middle school angst, because brat is more like adults talking about little kids as little
bratty.
Little brats. Like
they're being bratty. But Michael Jackson once changed the definition of bad. So Charlie XCX can change the definition.
Charlie XCX described the Brat album ethos as, quote, me, my flaws, my F-ups, my ego, all rolled into one.
Shut up.
Okay. Yeah, it's
It's fun, man.
Thank you.
It's a banger of an album, though.
By the
Really
way,
fun.
Baseball Talk got us here, but later today, there's in our offering, there's going to be some more baseball content, and I've been in heated discussions with our post-production crew. They are not able to turn around graphics. What you're going to hear is a fallacy. I lost a competition that I genuinely won. So there's a game that we play where Taylor pulls out a card, and the cards are from, in this example, the year 2004, and you're supposed to say which team that player was playing on in the year 2004.
Technically,
did this happen again? Because this happened the last time we played it too, where there was 2 published cards for one player.
Exact same thing happened.
It happened to me thrice.
Thrice in the same competition.
Happened to me thrice. Twice for points, and twice it was happening with trades that happened in the winter.
Yeah.
In the winter.
I don't think there were there winter trades, or were there trades just pre-deadline?
I'm not going to give it away. There was a winter trade.
I mean, what's the cutoff for making Topps cards? I guess we'll have to find that out.
Winter trade.
Either way, I'm pretty sure the question was, what team are they on in the card that is being presented to you?
Now, I say all of that to cover up the tracks because I do kill Sidney Ponson.
Oh.
Yeah, R.I.P.
He's not dead.
You asked the question.
Yeah, I asked it, but I killed him.
You asked it with a little bit of certainty.
No, I did. I
He's
confused
dead,
him with
isn't
Steve Belcher. I confused him with Steve Belcher.
I think he hit us with a, is he
RIP.
still with us?
Is he still with us? No, I think I probably had a little bit more conviction about it.
Stay tuned to find out.
Stay tuned. But when you listen to this, just know there are 3 times, thrice, twice for points, thrice that it happened, that I'm pretty bang on the money. So just warning you now. It's everything that you're about to hear is just BS.
On today's episode of The Pitch Clock, bullshit for Mike Ryan.
It is. It's BS. Formal protest. And they do that in baseball. So I am issuing a formal protest.
Great.
You have to go like this. You have to do a P.
P?
Yeah, when you do a protest, you stand behind home plate, and the umpire does a big P.
I thought that was theatrical. Is that like the protocol? Is that the actual protocol?
I think that's how they let them know, like in the box, that there's the games being played under protest. It looks like a big P.
Has anything ever come from a protest in any sport?
I think we're still waiting to figure out if that Knicks game is going to have the last play played.
So it would have been really interesting to see in the Ray Allen game. There was an illegal substitution made, like genuinely. There was
I think I remember this.
Yeah, there was an illegal substitution made with regards to, I believe it was Tim Duncan.
Right.
Yeah, Tim Duncan was out on the play, and then they subbed him back in.
And the talk was, I think Dane did the reporting on this, that had the Heat lost that game and didn't have this iconic, they would have been in the right
to protest,
to formally protest that. And there was a chance, if you're following letter of the law, maybe in the interest of sport, it's ultimately on the commissioner. The commissioner can decide whatever he wants there. But letter of the law, the Heat would have had every right to formally protest that game. And there were some people that said they actually would have won that protest.
So, like, it's not unheard of. It does happen. It happened in the Olympics, obviously, with Jordan Childs. They protested, they got her a medal, and then they protested again, and they took the medal away, which is really dumb, I think. It's also happened in the NBA. I talked about this before, earlier this season, where the Heat and the Hawks had a game where Shaquille O'Neal fouled out, and it turned out he only had 5 fouls. So they went back and they replayed like the last minute of the game.
I had forgotten about that.
And before they played the next time, they had another game. So they said, we're going to start this game and play the last like 90 seconds of the last game.
Did it change anything?
Yeah, I think the Heat ended up winning. And then they played the next game right afterward, and they lost that game or something like that. But so it does happen. It is rare. But when Billy says they throw up a big P, you know what? I don't know if he's messing with me or not, but I like it. I think it should happen.
What do you mean?
I think it should happen.
It's quite the brand you've carved out for yourself, Billy. That you're trying to be helpful, and people. Wait, are you lying?
Because here's the thing. Mike. What other hand gestures we have? We have VAR, which is, look at this big screen here I'm making, right?
Yeah, that's a good one, though.
You think that's a good one?
Yeah, it's become a good one.
Field goal's good. I like field goal's good. I don't like NBA
like
review replay. Like, they twirl their finger like, guys, we got to replay it because every play. I love it. It was like 2 seconds to a game, ball goes out of bounds, and someone like Patrick Beverley's like, replay that, replay. We're like, we're not burning a replay on this. Here's another good one. This comes from Aussie Rules Football. You know how they do their field goal good? It's like finger guns. Man.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's mad cool. I don't know if the video team could look that up.
The video team has done. Chris has informed me in my ear that, hey, we have a clip of you killing Sidney Ponson.
Yeah.
I don't want that clip.
Little teaser clip.
I don't want that clip. I want the clip of me being right
Little
three times.
Little taste of what's coming up.
I want the clip of me being correct thrice. That's what I want.
Guys, hit the Ponsoon clip.
Sidney Ponson.
Oh, come on. I mean, come on. Rest in peace, right?
Ethan.
Wow.
He's not dead? I said rest in peace, right?
This be $50.
Wait, Sidney Ponson's still alive?
Yeah, he is.
Sidney Ponson, very
No, yo.
That's fine.
Damn.
Sidney
47.
Ponson.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Have you Googled Sidney Ponson? Just that.
I just
alive.
Googled Sidney Ponson, and I'll tell you, I would not have gotten the team that he was with in 2004.
Oh, he's from Aruba. That's where I was confused.
That's where you.
Yeah.
So it's much worse than we thought. He's dead, right?
No, he said R.I.P.
Right?
R.I.P. Right?
But no, that right is not doing a whole lot.
I see what
of
you
work.
guys are trying to do.
No, you killed him.
I have 15 examples of protested games in Major League Baseball that were then resumed in the history of baseball up to 2019.
Behind home plate?
I don't have info on that yet. I do know that 8 of those 15 games, the team that protested did go on to win, and most famously, it was the George Brett Pine Tar game, where the Royals had protested in the top of the ninth. They were down 4-3. They ended up winning 5-4. The last one, I believe, was in 2014. It was the Giants and the Cubs, and this was because of a rain delay where the Cubs field crew couldn't get the tarp on in time, so they ended up finishing the game later.
I am genuinely sorry that live and in the moment, 22 years after the fact, I confused one Orioles pitcher for another in Steve Belcher. That was my mistake. But I'm man enough to admit my mistakes. Taylor, Jeremy, Chris, you can be man enough to admit yours, and that I was correct thrice.
I can't be man enough. I'm tier 2.
That's a good point.
I love how you use Aruba as the reason. Oh, Aruba, that's why.
I mean, that's just me doing bit.
I know.
Listen, I appreciate the banner. I do want to talk about football real quick, guys.
More football.
Yeah, actual sports. So last year when the Chiefs won, I think it crossed everybody's mind damn, if you're not going to get the Chiefs that year. I mean, they lost at home to the Raiders. Their offense was struggling. They didn't have any wide receiver help. If you're not going to get the Chiefs last year, are you ever going to get them as long as this core is around? And I thought long and hard. And I thought for a while, yeah, I think that this is a run and they're the weird, lovable dynasty. But then, yesterday, I was reminded there was someone that was able to stop them at the height of their powers. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals went into Arrowhead. They beat them. Now, Joe Burrow has a lot of questions to answer about his health. For whatever reason, it doesn't really stick to him as much. When you talk about fragile quarterbacks, he's not really invoked all that often. I'm not sure why. People talk more about Tua. If you stack up the injuries, Joe Burrow is right there. I understand you have the neurological stuff going on and the concussions with Tua where you genuinely think he's one hit away. Everybody's a hit away. But I think that Burrow and the Bengals have proven against more superior offense from Kansas City that they can do it. And I actually think they will. I think people are really sleeping on the Cincinnati Bengals, provided, of course, Joe Burrow can stay healthy.
I think the thing that people think of is the catastrophic and the severity of the hip injury for Tua. So I think they associate that with that was a way worse injury because Burrow's had a knee injury where he tore his ACL. That's pretty commonplace in the NFL. He has a wrist injury for a quarterback. I mean, you fall the wrong way, something happens. It's kind of things that are
thumb last year. Keep in mind, last year when he went out, Bengals are kind of grooving. They
Jake
were
Browning and them boys.
Yeah, they were. Well, Browning actually played well, but I kind of got the vibes that the Bengals are going to do this again to the Chiefs, and he gets hurt. I think that in the NFL right now, Patrick Mahomes. You want to talk about tier 1 guys? He's the only guy that came close in terms of skill is Aaron Rodgers. in terms of what they are able to do throwing the football. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. Tom Brady was never, when it came to physical attributes, the best in the league at anything.
Well, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time in the NFL. I just want to make that clear.
There
are other forms of football out there where he's not.
Well, I do want to play that video momentarily, but what I'm saying is, like, Tom Brady found a way to be the greatest ever without ever in any of his eras being physically the best at anything. It was all intangibles with him. Joe Burrow is a lot like Tom Brady. He's the closest comp that I have in that he's not top of the line at anything in the NFL. But if it's a game, we all know that dude's a gamer, and he can win it. He can beat Patrick Mahomes on Patrick Mahomes' best day. So provided that he stays healthy, that's a team that I trust the most inside that conference.
But their defenses have gone in different directions the last couple of years. In 2022, the Bengals had an elite defense. Last year, they took a step back. The Chiefs' defense was one of the best in the league last year. So I think that the question mark for the Bengals is the defense.
Yeah, and the owner spending money. And they've lost pieces. I noticed the other day, Tyler Boyd, not there anymore.
He's a Titan.
Yeah, he's a Titan. And Higgins is, I believe Higgins got franchised, right? So this is probably, they have an owner, famously, does not like to spend money. Did spend it on Joe Burrow. But as long as that dude's under center and healthy, it's kind of like a Tom Brady thing for me. And this is going back years now with Joe Burrow, dating back to college. I trust that guy. He showed you. Again, against a more superior team than the eventual Super Bowl champion that we saw last year with Kansas City. He goes in there, he wins big games.
I will say this, though. Jamar Chase is in a bit of a contract dispute with the owner, and the owner says, hey, I think Mike Brown is the owner, right?
Yeah, they lost Joe Mixon.
They lost Mixon, but they said, I'm not paying somebody before your time is up. Like, you're going to play out the entirety of this contract, and then we'll talk about a contract negotiation. Chase still at camp, but kind of in a hold-in, not really doing anything. We've never seen, think about this for a second, guys. We've never seen Joe Burrow do it without guys like Chase, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, right? The thing with Brady was you could throw Wes Welker, who was 5'8", and he would make him a 1,500-yard receiver. You could throw Deion Branch out there, and he can make him somebody who's a legitimate wide receiver one. We've never really seen Joe Burrow do it without monster talent across the outside.
That's certainly a great point. We never saw Brady become prolific until he had those guys. He became an all-time great, not a game manager the second that he got Randy Moss.
But look at but he had him for 14 seconds.
Yeah, but he had Gronk, which is the greatest tight end of all time. He had his weapon.
The real question is, what is Joe Burrow saying with this new hair look? Like, what's the message he's trying to convey to us?
Brad Summer.
He was asked yesterday. He does look like Ken there. Oh, who's going to the Barbie game today? Baseball. There's a Barbie giveaway.
He looks like Cody Rhodes.
It does. Looks really cool, the Barbie
He does.
jersey.
Right?
Tier 2 guy.
I really want it.
Billy, are you going to the Barbie game?
No.
That's why you're a Tier 1 guy.
They're also having a Swiftie DJ after one of the games in, I think, a week or so. They're having a Taylor Swift-themed post-game celebration.
Have you seen the lookalike that she, like, performs little concerts, and she just looks just like Taylor and plays all the songs?
It's very weird.
It's just...
I kind of want to do that for a Moss. I'm on an algo. Amin knows about my algos, but I'm on an impressionist algo right now. There is like a really good fake Eminem out there across the pond. I essentially just want to, for the next Moss Miami, hire a bunch of fake pop stars.
Can we get fake Drake?
I want to get fake Drake.
He's around here somewhere. He's amazing.